Good morning, good evening. Welcome to an Empower Financing Live session. My name is Claire Almond, and very happy and excited to have you here today. It takes Zoom a little bit of time to let everyone into the room, so we'll get started in just a moment. But if you signed up for an F1 Visa live session, congratulations, you're in the right spot. I have two tips for you to get the most out of this session today. The first is we send out a recording of the session, so you don't need to take crazy notes unless you want to. You'll get a version of this later. Right now, you can just focus on paying attention. The other tip is towards the bottom of your screen, you're going to see something that says Q&A. This is where you can ask us questions at any time during this live session. If it's an easy question, one of us will get back to you probably in the chat. If it's a more complex question, we may take it live later in Q&A. If we get a lot of the same question, we'll definitely answer it live. So please ask us questions so we know what you care about. It helps us talk about what's most important to you. And here with me today, I have Caroline from Udemy, who I'm going to let introduce herself, but she's a former consulate officer and has a wealth of experience to give you today. So Caroline, over to you.
Hi, good morning, good evening, everybody. It's lovely to have you. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you, MPOWER. My name is Caroline. I was a Foreign Service officer for over 16 years in the service, all in consular affairs for most of my career. I've worked all over the world. I've been a consular chief, immigrant visa chief. So I've worked in every category. F1s are a particular favorite of mine because I love working with the students. And I'm here today to try and do my best to, calm your fears because I know this is nerve-wracking, build your confidence and ask your questions. So thank you for having me.
Right. So everyone, I'm launching a poll just so we can learn a little bit more about you. It helps us tailor the content of the session to your experience. So you should see that poll now. Give it a quick look and let us know a little bit more about you. While you answer that, I'm briefly going to talk about MPOWER. If you've made it to this live session and have never heard of us, MPOWER Financing is a funding organization. We provide loans and scholarships primarily to master's students studying abroad in the United States and Canada. And, we love helping students. We've been around over 11 years, almost 12, and we funded over 25,000 students globally. And we're excited to fund even more this year. I see that maybe half of you have completed the poll. I'll give the other half a moment or two to complete the poll. You have a really long sentence here. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee and then I'm gonna end it. All right. Let's learn a little bit more about you. So on where are you from? The bulk of you are from Africa, which is great. In the Q&A field, if you want to give us a little bit more information about you, that's really helps us. Then 13% are South and Southeast Asia. Welcome. Then we have a spattering of North America. Fun fact, I was just in India for a few months and now I'm back in North America and it's very cold. I'm not liking it. And in terms of how do you feel about the upcoming visa appointment? 21% of you are excited, 19% are confident. Most of you are nervous, which is normal. We have 5% scared, 2% prepared, 5% unprepared. So our goal today is to get anyone that's feeling unprepared or nervous over to the more confident, prepared categories. I'm not sure we can get you excited, but maybe we can get you to confident and prepared. And then last, and maybe the most important question, when is your visa interview? 5% this week, 11% in the next 2 weeks, 21% the next 2 to 4 weeks. For many of you, it's 6+ weeks away, and for a little less than half, yet to schedule. Wonderful. So thank you for sharing, everyone. So today in this session, the first half hour is just going to be Carolyn telling you what you need to know to do well in your visa interview. Good information for everyone. Once we get through that, we'll spend some time on Q&A. So this is where the questions you ask in that Q&A field at the bottom really help. We'll answer the really popular ones and maybe some complicated ones that we couldn't answer directly. So if you have a question, please go ahead and ask it. Last, we're going to do as many mock interviews as we can. So if you are someone with a visa interview in the next 2 weeks, please write in the Q&A field right now. I want to volunteer for the mock interview. My visa interview is X date. Please choose me. And then when we get to that section, we'll make sure to prioritize anyone that has a visa interview that's very soon. So I've spoken enough. Caroline, I'm passing over to you. Take it away.
Okay, thank you, Claire. Hi, everybody. We are going to go through this PowerPoint, and it's going to have some great information for you. So, as everyone wants to do, how to ace your visa interview. Getting started. Well, we all start with the DS-160, your application for an interview. Know your DS-160 details. They will be reviewed closely. The reason we say that is many people have a family member, a friend, an organization, an agency fill in your DS-160 details. You know yourself better than anybody, and sometimes people can make mistakes, and it can sometimes cause you a denial. So you know your DS-160 well, no matter who fills it in. Keep the text concise and professional. You don't need to write a novel in your DS-160. Keep it very precise. If you've done internships to work experience, put that in the work experience section, because that means a lot to an officer, especially if it matches with, what you're going to do, what degree you're going to do, computer science, you worked in AI, robotics. So be sure, a lot of people forget to add those things. For past refusals, simply write 214B in the explanation box without over-explaining. That's what I mean, guys, by don't write a novel. The day before the interview, your documents, get everything prepared. Remember, you mostly, for sure now, I believe, you can't take a cell phone into the waiting room. So have everything ready and neatly put together. Valid passport with at least 6 months of validity. Confirmation page of form DS-160. Receipt for payment of visa application fee. Form I-20, very important. If you don't have your Form I-20 and you don't have the confirmation of your service fee payment, the officer will probably put you into administrative processing or may deny you. So do not go for an interview unless you have those documents. Sponsor's income tax return, loan documents, academic transcripts and diplomas, and bring originals. Officers do not like photocopies, so bring your original transcripts and diplomas. Standardized test scores, TOEFL, SAT, GRE. We want to know that you are a good student. That's a criteria, that you have strong enough grades to do what you want to do. Admission letter, and if you're a mature student, bring along your resume, CV, so you can show that to the officer. The visa interview, what to expect. When you go into the waiting room, you'll go through security, you can keep your documents with you, and then you'll go in and you'll be processed by a local staff member. And from there, you will be sent into a line, or you'll be given a number and put in a seat. So when you're waiting in that line, try and stay calm, try and stay focused, and don't listen to everybody who's been refused or hopefully been approved all the time. There's no secret sentences to get a visa. The secret to getting a visa is you being able to convince that officer that you are a credible student. The interview will only be 1 to 2 minutes. You have to be concise. You have to be targeted. You have to be strategic in your answers. One-word answers like yes, or if they ask you who's financing or who's going to be responsible for your tuition and living expenses in the US, and you just say, my parents, those answers aren't going to get you a visa. You need to be much more informative to that officer. Passport and I-20, and again, passport should have 6 months validity. Expect questions regarding your finances, educational work, background, and choice of program institution. Know about your MPOWER loan. Be able to talk about it. So know that you know what your interest payment's going to be. The officer might ask you, how are you going to pay for those? So be prepared for those questions. And bring along all your documentation, your parents' financial documents, your savings, and the MPOWER loan information. What are officers thinking? Well, that's $1 million question. I'm sure everybody wants to know, but we're going to see what we can do to help you. Are you sufficiently prepared to succeed in your studies? Number one, we need to know that your degree makes academic sense. They will assess your English. You'll always be interviewed in English. They'll review your educational background, your grades, and again, your work history, because many people, once they graduate from a bachelor's in their own country, go to work to gain experience and then move forward with a master's. If you're a new student, maybe you've interned in the area you want to study in. Are you a serious student? We're going to assess your motivation for studying in the US and your intent to complete your program. So when we ask, why do you want to go to this university? We don't want to hear about professors or the rankings of the school. We want to know that you know why you want to study there and that you can answer sufficiently to that officer on what you will be studying. And can you finance your education? Again, officers have a due diligence to know that you're going to be able to sustain yourself when you're at the university or college. What's the secret to a successful F1 US visa interview? Clear, personal, and well thought out answer about why you want to study at your selected university and program. Answers, you need to be natural. Even if you work with a company like Udeti, we always say, use your own words. We can teach you strategy, but you have to use your own words. Maintain eye contact with the officer. When you go to the window, as I know many of you feel so nervous and scared, just smile, good morning. Say good morning to the officer. Have your documents ready. Just take deep breaths. And for that 1 to 2 minutes of your life there, you'd focus intently on responding to that officer. Example, the polymer science program at the XYZ University offers a specialization in sustainability. I worked in product development in this field for the last year, and this degree will benefit me because they offer me courses such as. You notice how I ran on here. Don't give vague answers like, it aligns with my curriculum, the curriculum aligns with my goals. That's really vague throwaway answers. Know your course, know your curriculum. Their mechanical engineering program has a machine shop that will allow me to, excellent, carry on. What will that hands-on work benefit you in your program? Do you have the ability to work if you're doing a business degree with any companies? The hands-on real work, the officers want to hear about that. I hope to join their design team as I enjoy working with other engineering students. Perfect sentence there. Not many other mechanical engineering programs have active design teams that compete. So you have to really dial down and give good information in a very short time. Why have you selected your school? The school is ranked X, and that is why I selected it. An answer like that, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your 1 to 2 minutes. You don't need to talk about the rankings. Officers do this job day in, day out. They know what the rankings are. They want to know again, and I know I'm going to repeat this time and time again through this PowerPoint and webinar, is you need to know why you want to go to that school academically and why it makes academic sense to you. I have selected this school program because of the work of XYZ. Professor, he's the leading researcher in cybersecurity, and I'm hoping to take classes. That's an iffy answer. Again, when you're answering the question about why you want to go there, you can add that it's not necessary. We want to know the academic side, not that you're going to go to a particular professor. You can add on there, and I'll be working with Professor Smith as he's the leading cybersecurity, but that shouldn't be the main target or the strategy of your answer. The electrical engineering, sorry, guys, I'm falling over my words here. The electrical engineering program at XYZ University offers a specialization in control systems. I studied self-driving cars during my undergraduate education and specifically targeted electrical engineering program when varied and extensive coursework in control systems and autonomous driving. Beautiful answer. See how controlled that answer was? And you can make that answer to fit with what you're going to do. So, that is the kind of answers we're looking for. Don't be humble at the interview. Don't be arrogant, but don't be humble. Try and be confident. And what makes confidence is knowing you know how to respond to that officer. So if you practice, if you work with your responses, record yourself, look in the mirror, maintain eye contact, then the more confident you are in your answers, the more you will be able to show that to the officer at the interview window. Example 1, why this school program? I was top 5% of my class and 5 universities admitted me into their program, but I chose XYZ University because that's a great start. You could pre-func that with, you graduated in the year 2012, 2024, applied with a degree. So you can always tell your story. That's the main thing. The officer wants to hear your story. Why computer science? I won a coding competition. I've always excelled in programming languages and attention to detail. So have really good answers, not the answers like, why computer science? Well, I like computers. That's not going to win you that F1. Finances, you got money. Give the whole financial picture, entire family income, immovable assets, especially if your family have a rental income that they receive, savings, bank accounts, investments, gold, scholarships or deposits, and loans. And I previously said, know the information on the loans. Know the information if your parents, you tell the officer what their jobs are, what their annual income is, if they've have savings. So give the whole picture. That is really important, guys, that you give everything there. Example, my father is a real estate broker. My sister also works. We own 2 flats. Generated income is 25,000 per annum. We also have a savings of 40,000 and have taken out a secure loan of 30,000. Always remember to quote the money in US dollars. Because in an F1, that's important. Don't do the money side of it in your local currency. Be sure you give the information in US dollars. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't you ever say that. Don't use sir or mom. If they slip out, it's not, you're not going to be denied a visa for it. And it does slip out. Don't get overly anxious about that. But the more natural you are with the officer to be yourself and try and connect with the officer is important. Never buy fake documents or bring them to a visa interview. Officers are trained in fake documents. We can spot them a mile off, and that will possibly mean it will mean an immediate denial, but it also may mean a permanent ineligibility. So please don't do it. And I'm sure none of you will. 214B. This is the 214B letter that once you receive, if you're denied, but let's think positive and that won't happen, it's really going to tell you nothing. It's a generic letter we give to everybody. So always when you have your interview, when you leave, if you are denied, and I know that's stressful for everybody, try to think about what might have gone wrong in that interview so you can address it when you return for your next interview. One interview prep. Now that you understand how F1 decisions are made, I hope, the mystery of this, the most important step is to practice your answers with someone who has actually sat behind the visa window. So we have all the officers that work for UDETI, we've got years and years and years of experience between us. And we know how you need to approach this interview. And also, if you have webinars, UDETI, MPOWER, you've just got everybody's here to help you with your interview process. And that is me. I think my colleagues are going to drop a link in the chat that will enable you to use MPOWER code and receive a 20% discount. So that is the end for me, Claire. I'll hand back to you.
Excellent. So don't worry if you missed the code she just shared. We'll put it in the chat in just a little bit. So no worries there. So, Carolyn, while you were presenting, I collected questions from our audience so we can make sure to tackle the most common ones. I think a few of them were definitely addressed in your presentation, but maybe we can just double click into a few topics. Everyone, if you've missed it and you want us to answer a question live, now is a time to get a good question in. We'll do this for maybe 20 minutes, and then I'd like to do as many mock interviews in the last half hour as possible because I think they're really informative. So that's the game plan, everyone. So let me pull up that list of questions. All right, so Carolyn, you definitely addressed this, but we had a few different people ask a version of, how do I convince the consular officer I will go back home? And in particular, this person is in a nursing program. And so I've heard from actually other people pursuing nursing that sometimes the actual degree makes people a little nervous because maybe why would someone do nursing in the US to uh, not work here is something I've heard someone say before. So maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Okay, happy to. Well, nursing is a very good vocation, and I think that's a great program to be going into. So don't let it make you nervous. As I said in the presentation, just know why you want to why you want to do this, why you want to do this degree. But that you show ties the whole way through your interview. And where people make their biggest mistake is they're waiting for the officer to actually say the word, "What's your ties?" That doesn't happen. When you talk to the officer about why you want to go to the certain, we'll say the nursing program, then when you give your targeted strategic presentation, on why you want to do it, you can always think about adding, and this meets, when I graduate and I return to my home country, I plan to work for XYZ hospital. There's the first tie. You can get that tie in at the very beginning if you think about it. And then the officer will ask you about family in the US. Do you have a home if you're an older student? Do you live with your parents? Have you traveled overseas? But a lot of people, officers are trained to think that everybody wants to immigrate to the United States, and it is upon you to convince that officer that you're not. So there's various strategy you can use when you talk to the officer, and that was just an example of a couple of them. Hope that answers the question, Claire, and I didn't go
I
on
think
too much.
yeah, no, you did great. Next topic. We have actually four different people asked a version of this, so I'm going to try to give you a flavor of them. But many people essentially have a loan that covers uh 50 to 100% of their program costs. And they want to know how visa officers think about that. Is it bad to have a loan that covers 100% of everything? Is it better to get a scholarship or other fund? So maybe you can talk a little bit more about how how big a loan size can make a difference.
Well, everybody's had loan. Well, not everybody, I'm sure, but many people all over the world have loans for education, including American citizens. So it's something, that's a necessity. So don't look upon it as it's something negative. Look upon it as something positive and use it to your best advantage, which means when the officer asks you who's going to be financially responsible for your tuition and living expenses, if you can get a scholarship, go for the scholarship because that shows you're actually credibility as a student, and the university is willing to give you a scholarship. So if you do have family funds, mention them. If you do have a scholarship, and then you tell the officer, I have a loan for $50,000. I will also be using my loan. That you could also add on there, and Claire, correct me if I'm wrong, you can also add on there that, my loan repayments are not due until 6 months after I return to my home country. guys, that's a tie too.
Hmm.
Be really clever with everything. Um, and know about your loan. But you have this loan, and my best thing to say to you is own it and be confident about it and tell the officer. It is what it is. You're not going to change it. So the more you are confident in your loan information, the more that officer will think, well, you thought it through. And with a bit of luck, that officer also had a loan when they went through university. So don't look upon it as a negative, look upon it as a positive.
Yeah, I love that framing of it is what it is. So own it. Something we've seen, everyone, is that if you know the specifics of your loan, it can be a much better visa experience. For example, if you know the exact payment amount, $123 while in school and $300, $302 when you've graduated, you should be able to figure out your payments either using our website or your loan documents. So that should be something you know. And you should have a sense about how you're going to make those payments in advance too. And so if you don't know this information and you have an upcoming visa interview, it is a good time to figure that out so you can talk about it.
Could I
And
just add one thing there?
oh, please, please do.
And guys, the officers are going to ask you, they're going to ask you, how are you going to pay your interest payments in the US? So have a plan because, officers are pretty familiar with a lot of the loans. If they don't ask you, great. Claire's bang on. You need to know that loan. But also, I have many times trained an officer and I've many times ask them how they're going to pay the interest payments to make sure
Mhm.
that you have the whole financial picture. So be ready for that.
Wonderful. So, next question I'm actually going to take real quick, and Caroline, you can also, I think, probably add to it. Hey, I'm a fresher with no work experience. Will this impact my interview? I can tell you from MPOWER's data, just looking at the data, that the more work experience you have, the more likely you are to pass the interview and get a visa. So I can just tell you straight from our own data, work experience helps. Carolyn, do you have a perspective?
Yeah, it does work because the thing is you can frame it. If you got a degree, if you got a bachelor's in computer science, and then you went to work to get some experience, especially for your master's, but it shows to you've you've left school, you've got experience in your field. You've always got to tie things academically back to why you want to do the degree. So if you've got a computer science degree, but you want to do a master's in fitness, there's no connection there. So you've got to make everything fit. And
Hmm.
and the more you do that with the experience, bring your resume, offer the resume to the officer and say, hey, I brought my resume if you'd like to see it. So yeah, I totally agree with Claire on that.
And just one more piece of advice, and this is something I get this question a lot, basically. I have no work experience. What should I do? So what I normally say is that it, you know, you should have a sense of the job market and what career you're looking to go into. So, for the type of career you're looking to do, are they currently hiring people straight out of school, the current analyst level? Some fields do that. In the United States right now, the job market's a little tougher than it has been in previous years. So you're competing against people who do have some work experience. So it's up to you to do some research about the type of careers you're interested in and see what the hiring tactics are like. Just a little bit of research. Ultimately, we see having 1 to 2 years of work experience can really make a difference. In some cultures, it's normal to do a bachelor's then a master's immediately. In the United States, it's actually more normal to take a break between years. So if you're someone who's worried a gap will look bad, actually it's the reverse. Having a little bit of work experience can really help. So that's just something I think everyone should know a little bit about the current job market. So how to handle refusal. Carolyn, we had a lot of questions about this. I've been refused in the past. I'm going back to do it again. What should I keep in mind?
Well, number one, I think if you guys should call, and I talk a lot through the PowerPoints, is you when you leave there, the disappointment is intense. It's like you feel your whole world is gone upside down. But when you calm down, try and think about what went wrong. Did you give short answers? Did you give no information? Did you talk about the campus and the weather rather than why you academically wanted to go to this university? And then make your notes and don't make the same mistake the next time. Don't go back and do what you did the first time because that obviously didn't work. You need to, attend these webinars. Um, if you can do it, get some assistance, but change what you did and always be ready for the question. You applied for a visa in January. Now you're back here in April applying. What's the difference? So be ready for that question. The other thing that Claire mentioned that triggered me there is if you have to wait, many people are having to wait for appointments right now because there's a long wait time. Go and do some internships. Go and volunteer somewhere because that counts as work experience and you can put it on your DS 160. Don't waste that time on your computer trying to get an appointment. Make good use of that time.
You don't have to be paid for it to count as work experience.
Mm-hmm.
It can just be experience and we count it. The income doesn't actually matter. So I love the volunteer or internship advice. The next question, which I thought was interesting, is it important to avoid giving one-word answers during the visa interview? How long should my answers be? Or two questions I got.
So the officer makes up their mind usually in the first two questions. So if they, that we make up our minds quickly and we're good at this job. We do it day in and day out. So if we ask you a question like, why do you want to go to this university? And you respond to the officer, well, I want to go to this university because I like the curriculum. That's not a one-word answer, but that's the vaguest answer. So we begin to think right away, oh, this person doesn't know why they want to go there. Okay. But you have to make the answer targeted. You have to say, I want to go to this university to do this degree because, and talk about the curriculum. Now you can do that in less than 15 seconds. Because when I work with clients, I time everything. I watch the clock so I can see how long things take them. But one-word answers, especially now, and actually before, but not the same degree, you're not going to get that visa. You've got to start getting that officer on the first answer. So please don't give one-word answers. Give something to the officer. Officers are not in the business of looking for a way to give you a visa. They're in the business of you convincing them you should have an F1.
Great. So, Carolyn, next question. I think these are another set of interesting questions. We have many people asking two things. Is age a factor on the visa interview? And if so, how? Is university a factor on the interview? And then one final one I just got is it a red flag for visa officers if they get a lot of applicants for the same university and course? Which I wanted to throw out there because I know the answer is yes, and I want you to talk about it.
Okay. Okay. So I'll start with age. Well, you are the age you are. If you're just fresh out of school, you have the officer knows you're new. They know you're just a new graduate. If you're a mature student, just be ready for the question. Why did you wait so long before pursuing an education in the US? And again, it's like I say this again, own your age, own your story and tell the officer. So age, yeah, if you're like 70 odd, that might be a problem. But we see a wide range, but you have to be able to articulate why you want to go to the university academically. I keep saying that academic part because I want to drive that into everybody. Does the university matter? Well, I would like to say no, but I'm going to have to say yes. People do, the more, well-known schools, officers are more used to them. If you go with a school that's not so well known, the officer's going to Google it. So just make sure that you know what you're saying matches everything. But not everybody can go to an Ivy League school. So I like to think, and I've been a consultant now for, nearly for quite some time, I have students getting approved that are going to Ivy League and are going to lower. level schools because it depends how you present yourself. Officers are looking at you and they're looking at why you want to go to the school. So they're not going to give everybody going to Harvard. I have and had officers turn down Ivy League students because they couldn't even tell us why they wanted to go. And, why would we approve it? And we've had students that are going to less known schools that have been able to articulate what we're looking for: credibility, money, ties to their home country. So don't get too hung up on that because, it's a wide variety. And if a lot of students are going to the same school and they're coming into the waiting room, we know we're looking at it. We're, when I worked as a chief and as an adjudicator, if we had like 10 students or maybe 50 or 20, and I've seen this in the visa mills, come in and all go to the same university, we are going to look closely at that and to see why are they all going to this university. Again, it will penetrate on us because we will discuss it and we will look to see why we're getting so many students for this university. And again, but it also comes down to you've got to give a good interview. Again, credibility, financial resources, ties.
Great answers, Carolyn. Thank you. All right. I think we have time for maybe two more questions. Maybe a few more questions, and we're going to switch to mock interviews very soon. So, Amy, my happy friend who is here to select people, that's more of a heads up to start planning who are our lucky mock interview winners. We're prioritizing people that have a visa interview in the next few weeks. Next question. We've people asking a little bit about the social media, wide variety of social media questions. How should I think about my social media? Do I really need to make them all public, etc.? So maybe, Carolyn, you can just talk a little bit about how they should think about the social media requests.
This is my favorite subject, believe me. I talk to and Claire's going to probably have to go like this, stop, Caroline. But I talk to a lot of my students and all my categories, for people I work with, because I want to know what happened at the window so that I can start putting it all together. So, for me, it's a relationship with my client until I know what the end brings us. But please, please, please give them every link you have, handle, not that I know what handle is, to be honest, guys. I just learned that word yesterday. Put everything on your DS-160. Do not leave anything off. And I'm going to give all of you probably the best information I can right now. If you have a LinkedIn account, check your LinkedIn account because officers may well look at your LinkedIn account and compare it to the answers you're giving the officer. So be very careful that your LinkedIn accounts are up to date and everything mirrors. Okay, if I do nothing else during this webinar, that's the best, because I am seeing people being turned down for that reason, that something is different in the LinkedIn than was said in the interview. So just, please be very careful with that. And all your websites, open them to public. Fine, we've been at this long enough now. You've read your blogs, you've read your whatever you read and who you talk to, that you're going to go into 221G. The officer will say to you, your visa is approved subject to administrative processing for social media review. And, they're turning the visas around quicker than when this first started. So that's good. But know you're going there. Open it and make sure you do look at all your media beforehand. Now, if you do the DS-160 and you think 2 days later, oh goodness, I forgot to put this on my DS-160, type it out. Please don't handwrite it. You'll put the visa officer crazy trying to read your writing. Type it out. When the officer asks you for your appointment letter and your passport, put the link that you forgot in there and tell the officer and say to them, I've also, in your own words, say to them, I have my appointment letter, my documents, but I also forgot a link on my DS-160 and I've typed it out for you. Okay. So guys, this is a big thing right now. So you have to be very careful with it because people are being turned down.
Great. So I'm going to take two more questions, everyone, and then we're going to switch to mock interviews. For this next one, we got a lot of people asking, I think they're MPOWER applicants essentially. How do you answer the question on the interest-only payments whilst in school? I'm going to start with this one and tell you what I hear students saying, and then Carolyn's going to give her perspective. So, what we hear students saying for this question is something along the lines of, I've gotten a scholarship for my first semester that I'm going to use partially for this. I've been granted an on-campus job already, so I'm going to
Mhm.
use that. My family has savings and they're helping me with the payments. Here's a document officer showing the savings. We've also had students, and maybe you don't want to talk about this, this is more practical, save money essentially in living
Mhm.
expenses, and then use that to make the interest only payments, maybe by getting roommates, etc. So that's what we've heard students say. What you do not say is anything related to working in the United States. Carolyn, what do you think?
OPT, don't
Yeah.
mind OPT, CPT, stay away from it, guys. I think Claire was a visa officer in another life, you know.
I've just listened to you give such great information.
I would have been great with you working with me, Claire. You would have been spot on the windows. But um, Claire's given you all the answers there. You've got to and be confident when you say it. Don't be looking down. Own this loan and say, well, I my parents saved $20,000. We're going to use that for our interest payments. You can always answer that question the way Claire said it. The scholarship, you reach out to the campus. I believe, Claire, and correct me if I'm wrong, I believe a lot of campuses won't really give you a yes or no if you've got a job. Some will until you get there.
Uh,
But you
um,
can,
you
I'm
can
sorry,
always,
Claire.
oh, it's okay. I was just going to answer it. So some schools grant graduate assistantships early with admissions a little earlier. And that's maybe a little different than an on-campus job. So some schools, it just depends on your school. You can reach out to people and professors and get work that way on campus as a heads up. Carolyn, what were you going to say? I'm sorry for interrupting.
Well, I had a student not so long ago, and we were working on the resources part, and I said to him, you know, you reached out to a professor to be a research student? And he says, yes. I said, well, tell the officer that. Say that, you're looking at other avenues that, you understand that you don't have the job, but you are going down. It shows to kind of a little bit of credibility um,
Mm,
in doing that. To say that you've reached out to them, and if you can get a letter from them, that's great because you can show it. You probably can't, but if you can, that's also great. But there's also little things like you can say, well, I've budgeted, I've worked out my finances. For that reason, I'm staying on campus because that's the cheapest place. So you can always add a little bit in there.
nice. So, everyone, I'm going to take the last question, then we're going to move to your favorite part, which is mock interviews. Um, I think the last question I'm going to take is about countries that have been banned, Carolyn, under certain, in different, there's different types of restriction right now. And so for those from Nigeria, we have some people on the call who mentioned their country has been sort of totally banned. They wanted to know if it makes sense for them to do anything or, how they should think about that announcement.
Well, regretfully, that is, happening right now. But look at the glass half full. Think about the day when the ban is lifted. And that we hope that will come eventually. Go and do those internships. Go and do those volunteer work. Make good use of that time so that when you present, when this ban is lifted from you, you can say you just weren't sitting at home watching Netflix. You were out there getting experience. And young, old, if you're already not old, I shouldn't say that, guys. I'm sorry for saying that. More mature, if you're already working, keep working. Don't quit the job to wait for a visa because officers with the mature students will ask you, how are you currently working? And usually they like to hear the answer, yes. Make good use of that time, is what I'm saying.
And I think I'm still getting a few questions on this. So if you're from a country like Nigeria that's been totally banned, you won't be able to schedule an F1 interview, right,
Mhm.
Carolyn? Is that
Yeah, you
correct?
can't.
So
Yeah.
so I think I see some people asking like how do I get one? Unfortunately, I think the answer for some of these countries is you can't right now. And so it's best to work on your professional profile.
Yeah.
There are some countries, however, I think Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan come to mind. There's another list of countries where only immigrant visas have been restricted.
Yeah.
So just there's a lot of news out there about different things for different countries.
Mhm.
Make sure to get your information from a credible source. So don't mix up the two categories. Carolyn, we're seeing some people basically get confused between different announcements.
Yeah.
Do you have like advice about how to get good news?
Go on the website, the
The
consulate or
US
embassy
government website?
website.
Yeah, cool.
I
Cool.
mean, there's your news there. And if it's unclear on the website, there's always a collective email address that, if the country's banned, if there's less visas being done in your country, the team have more time to answer your questions. So, if you're a little bit confused with what's on there, you write to the or write to the section because there's always a collective email address there. But there's nothing like the State Department to give you the information you need. And again, keep holding out hope and just keep checking. Keep checking on it. I know that's easy for me to say, but I'm very hopeful that eventually things will turn around, and you need to be ready when they do.
Yeah. And I've recently lived abroad for 6 months in India and a bit of Nepal. I see the type of social media that influencers and others are releasing on this, and I see
Mhm.
the news articles. Please check the government website from the United States or a credible source. I've seen so much that is wrong. So much. So just find a credible source. Social media isn't the best place. Your favorite influencer, even though I love them, probably also not the best place to get your visa news.
Yeah.
And
Claire,
on
could I
that,
add one?
oh,
Could I
please.
add one quick thing there because I think it'll interest everybody that's here. For those of you that have been refused, denied a visa, it's even harder in the countries like India and that to get another visa slot. So, to finish this section, I want to say to all of you that first visa interview is the time to get your visa if you can. Okay. So, know how much is riding on it because I do have clients that, have been denied and then they come to me and they can't even get visa slots right now
Mm,
because the visa slots are more available to the first timers. So just bear that in mind. Your best chances right now is that if it's your first time, be prepared for it.
So everyone, we're moving on to mock interviews. We'll bring you up in just a moment. How this is going to work. Emmy, our friendly assistant for the day, is going to basically allow you to talk. You don't need to come on camera. We just need to be able to hear you. You have about 10 seconds for us to hear you. If we can't hear you in those first 10 seconds, we're going to move on to someone else. When you are taken off mute, please introduce yourself and tell Carolyn what school you're going to. She's also going to ask what you're nervous about so she can focus on it. She'll give you a few questions on that. She'll give you some advice, and then we'll move on to the next person. So, key things to know if we can't hear you in the first 10 seconds, we're going to move on. Please introduce yourself and what school you want to go to and anything you're nervous about. Otherwise, I'm going to disappear and let Carolyn take it away.
Thank you, Claire.
Amy, I'm guessing you are choosing someone right now, but just in case you're not, this is the time.
Claire, I'm doing it. Give me one moment.
Hi, Raja. I see you here. Can you hear me?
Hello, yeah, I hope you can hear me also.
Yes, Raj, I hear you loud and clear. Tell me, what university are you going to or school you're going to?
Brook College in New York.
Okay, what degree are you doing?
MS Marketing.
Okay. Are you
Yeah.
particularly nervous about any specific area of the interview?
Basically, yes. First of all, the thing is, this is like my first time, ever applying to abroad or even going out of my country as well. And obviously in my like the closest family there's none whoever went abroad, so I have a lot of questions. I'm confused about that. So the thing is, number one, how do I show like the strong ties to my country, like I'm from Pakistan, so yeah. And
Okay.
also, what are like the patterns that most often lead to visa refusal as well,
Okay.
like the hidden things that people cannot find online. Yeah, so like
Okay.
this is.
So, Raja,
Yeah.
that's a lot of questions. I'll try and cover as much as can in the brief mock interview. I actually
Beautiful.
served in Pakistan. I served in Pakistan, Raja, so I'm
Oh,
very
great,
familiar
that's
with the
great.
area. So let's just do a couple of questions and then I'll give you some feedback, okay? Because I want to give
Okay.
everybody, a fair chance. So, sir, tell me, why do you want to study at Brook College in New York?
Number one, it's the degree is marketing with a concentration in digital marketing, and I have a background in film and digital art from University for the Creative Arts, UCA, UK. So along the way, I found a huge interest in marketing, and over the time, like the past 2 3 years, I've been working in the market as well, in media agencies as well as in startups as well. For example, I recently co-founded a company as well over there in Pakistan. It's an e-commerce store, and it's funded by my father. Obviously, like he owns the business, but I run the business as well. So I do like everything, and the reason is that like my certifications in this field, I have 3 to 4 certifications. The latest one is the Meta Marketing Analytics certificate that I am currently enrolled. I'm halfway through it. It's basically an 8 course uh,
Raja, I'm going to start
certificate.
bringing you, Raja, I don't mean to
Yeah.
interrupt you, but I'm going to start bringing you to a close. That is
Yeah.
way too long an answer, and it's
Okay.
not targeted. So let me ask you a couple of more questions, and then we'll go back to that one. And I'm sorry for
Okay.
stopping you. It's
No, no,
it's
it's okay. It's okay.
and tell me, sir, who's who's going to be financially responsible for your tuition and living expenses in the US?
My parents are going to be the main sponsors as well as a family relative as well.
Okay.
And the funds that my parents are getting from, like, my father owns a business, and I have proper annual returns as well as the bank statements of the business as well as my parents have a lot of money in the savings as well. Like what's required by my university is around $55,000, and and my bank statements etc. can prove that.
Okay. And what do you plan to do when you graduate?
I plan to come back to my country because, as I mentioned earlier, that I have a company over here to run, and I'm the main brand manager. So all of the things that I learn over there, because the marketing field over there, the US is like way far ahead as compared to the market over here in Pakistan, and I'm going to apply all of those things over here in Pakistan in order to create a multi-dollar business in Pakistan.
Okay. So the graduating question, let me start with that one. I'm going backwards here. I apologize. The graduating question is where you can show your ties. So make sure you have a strong answer there. Your answers are very long and they're vague and they're not relevant, Raja. So you need to really think of answering more
Okay.
targeted, more strategically. In number one, when I asked you about why you wanted to go to Brook, you told me everything but why you wanted to go to Brook. that was a question, you did mention, that UK,
Okay. But
you have
can
a
we do it
degree.
again if you
Uh,
don't mind?
no, Raja, I'm not going to be able to do that
Okay.
because I've got to be fair to everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, sir.
And also on your financial thing, you gave a lot of vague information. You really need to target it to what your parents do, how much they earn, if you've got scholarships and that. So try and think more targeted in your answers, Raja. But thank you, and I wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hey, Ernest, feel free to come off mute and introduce yourself. Ernest, just heads
Hi,
up that we can't hear you if you're talking.
hi, good afternoon. My name is Ernest from Ghana.
Hi, Ines. What university are you going to?
University of Portland.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
University of Portland. University of Portland.
Portland?
Yes, please.
Okay. And what degree are you doing, Ines?
MS Operation and Technology Management.
Okay. Are you nervous about what you're particularly nervous about? Just briefly tell me.
Okay, my worry is, first of all, this is my first time applying for F1 visa. I've not even traveled out of my country before. And how do I position myself in answering the questions? And how do I maintain eye contact?
Okay. Let me take on the eye contact in this when you're practicing your responses, when you're getting ready for your interview, look at yourself in the mirror and keep the eye contact there. Okay. So that will help you because you need to try and maintain eye contact. So Ines, let me ask on the never traveled abroad. Many students haven't traveled abroad, so don't be too concerned about. The main thing you need to be concerned about is your academic answers to the questions, the financial questions, and your ties. You've got a really good, this is your first time applying. So Ines, let's practice a couple of questions so I can give you some feedback. So when
Oh,
you get to
okay.
the window, Ines, I want you to directly look at the officer in the eye as much as you can. Say good morning to them. And when the officer asks me, why do you want to study in the United States at Portland University? How would you answer them?
Well, I would like to study at a university in the US and University of Portland because there's no school in my country that offers the program that I want, and that is why I chose US.
Okay, and who's going to be financially responsible for your tuition and living expenses in the United States?
My finances is from MPOWER Financing.
And what do you plan to do when you graduate?
I would like to return to my home country to help develop my country. My family needs me, and my country also needs me. So I would like to return back to my country and use the experience and the knowledge that I've acquired to develop my country.
Okay. And sir, have you ever traveled overseas before?
No, please, I've never traveled before.
Okay. Are you currently working?
Yes, please. I'm currently working in a mining company.
Okay. So Ines, the questions that I asked you, you really need to, and please don't think I'm being unkind to you. I really want to try and help you. Your answers are very vague and they're not very informative for the officer. So in the question, why do you want to study in the United States? The officer is basically asking you why you want to go to the University of Portland. Your answer should always be, I want to study, if you graduated with a degree, tell the officer that I graduated with a degree in XYZ year. From there, I went to work as an XYZ at a mining company. The XYZ is for you to think don't say XYZ, but just fill in the blanks. Why you chose that program, you told me nothing about the academic curriculum. So as an officer, I didn't do it with this mock. I might have come back to you and said, what's your favorite subject going to be? Because the way you answered me didn't tell me that you knew why you wanted to go to this school. On the financing, you just said MPOWER Finance. Well, this officer might not know who MPOWER is. You need to describe your loan. Hopefully you've been through the session with us today. In saying that, I have secured a loan of $50,000 for my tuition and living expenses from MPOWER. I have brought along all the documents regarding the loan, if you'd like to see them, and be able to talk about, how if the officer asks, when do you pay the loan back, or tell the officer, as I previously mentioned, my loan is not due to be repayments until 6 months after I return, and be able to talk about the interest payments. When I asked you about what you're going to do when you graduate, be able to talk about what you're going to do about your graduate. No doubt your country needs you and they're going to need your expertise. But again, be more targeted. When I graduate, I plan to return to my home country where I look for a position with XYZ company, where I hope to go and use my education and experience to get a management leadership job with XYZ company. Make it a lot more targeted. And when I asked you, because I know this was a concern of yours, have you ever, traveled overseas before? You could always say to that officer, no, when I graduated, I went to work for experience so that, I could look to furthering my education, could add just a little bit there and, also shows the tie. And if you are working, get that out to the officer in the beginning when you answer the questions, as I've given you the examples. But Ines, you need to try and make your questions a little bit more factual for the officer. Okay? I do hope that's
All right.
helped you, and I do wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Hi, Benjamin. Can you hear me,
Hello.
Benjamin? Hi, I
Yes,
can hear
I
you.
can hear you.
I can hear you great. Tell me, what university are you going to?
I'm going to Colorado School of Mines.
Benjamin, I can't hear you. Can you speak up, please?
I'm going to Colorado School of Mines to study professional masters in mineral exploration.
Where is that school?
It's in Colorado Golden in the United States.
I'm having the hardest time hearing you, Benjamin, with the school
Hello?
again. Can you tell me Colorado? Okay, now I can hear
Colorado
you.
School of Mines.
Okay, excellent. And are you particularly concerned about any certain areas, Benjamin?
I'm particularly concerned about my home ties, how to answer questions on the home ties.
Okay, well, home ties is not actually specific questions, and that's what I want you all to. It's like, the officer will ask you about your family, your home, but also show your ties throughout the whole interview, Benjamin, and we'll work on that right now so that everyone can hear us. Okay, is that okay with you?
Okay. Yes,
And
please.
Benjamin, I want you to stay close to the mic and speak up. Don't mumble because you're going to have to do this with the officer. Try and be as clear and concise with your answers as you can. Okay, I know you're nervous, but please don't be nervous with me.
Yeah, I'm
I
very
know you're
nervous. Okay.
nervous. So take a deep breath. I'm an ex-visa officer, remember. I'm here to help you right now. So
Oh, okay.
tell me, sir, why do you want to attend Colorado University? Why do you want to study there?
I chose to study at Colorado School of Mines because it is one of the universities in the world for earth science and mining related programs. The curriculum fits perfectly with my background in exploration geology. I currently work as exploration geologist at Adamos Resources Limited, and the school offers strong research facilities and industry connections.
Yeah, it was a really good. I'm going to interject here before I ask the next question. That was a really good answer. And, Benjamin, you're concerned about the ties. At the end of that at the end, you did a good answer. I maybe shore it up a little bit more on the curriculum, but that you told me you were a geologist. You kept everything that makes academic sense. But at the end of that, you could add, and this, don't use what everybody uses. If you can help it, aligns with goals, and just saying, when I graduate, my plan is to return to this company. And if you're going to return to the company, get a letter from them. Or, you could show a little tie there. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Show a tie about when I graduate, I'm going to do X, Y, Z when I return to my home country.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever traveled overseas internationally?
No, please. After graduation, I've been working, so I haven't traveled before. This will be my first time.
Well done. And sir, who's going to be financially responsible for
I've
your,
successfully
sorry?
I've successfully secured an MPOWER loan of $67,000, $67,000, and I have a personal fund of $5,600. These funds will cover for both my tuition and living expenses in the United States. And
And then
my,
please
the,
continue.
my okay, I'll pay my loan interest payments with my providential fund from my company. I have a providential fund of $18,000 from my company, and that's what I'll use for my loan interest payments. My loan interest payment is $1,021 per month when I start the program. So I'll use my providential fund from my company to pay the loan interest payment. Thank you.
And what do you plan to do when you graduate? Now think about ties when you answer this question.
Okay. I plan to return home to my family, and the knowledge that I'll gain will help me get more technical roles and managerial positions in the mining industry in Ghana. With this degree that I'm going to acquire, I can easily secure a superintendent position or manager positions in the mining industry in Ghana. Thank you.
Okay. So Benjamin, you see where we added in the ties? Did you understand what we did there? Because I know that's your concern, but you did a really good job, Benjamin. And you gave your story. You talked about, why you wanted to go to Colorado. Your position as a geologist. Your degree is in that field. And you I would maybe recommend talk a little bit more on any hands-on work or of the curriculum that you might be doing. But you did a really, really good job of it.
Okay.
And you did a great job on the financial side. I didn't have to ask the question. I went to ask the question. I thought, oh no, Benjamin's on a roll here. He's doing it good. You talked about the loan. You talked about the 5K. You mentioned, and this is key to anybody, my ears as an officer picked up when I heard about your providential fund of 18K, because that means to me that you're probably going back, and the officer will probably ask you to work for this company, possibly when you graduate. And if you are going back to work for a company that you previously worked for, bring a letter to that extent for them. And on your graduation, you did a really good job. You showed your ties there too, Benjamin. So well done. I hope I helped you, and I hope I gave you a couple of tips in this very short time, Benjamin.
Thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck. Best of luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think we have time for one or two more. Over 30 of you volunteered, so we're doing our best to choose ones that are soon. Emmy, you can go for our last 1 to 2 people.
Sure.
Hi, Leah.
Hi,
How are you today?
I'm doing fine.
Thank you. Tell me what university you're going to, Leah, what degree you're doing.
I'm going to the University of South Dakota to pursue a master's in business administration sustainability.
Okay, and what are you particularly worried about? Just tell me very briefly.
I'm worried because I graduated in 2011 December, so my age is what I'm worried about.
So I'm sure you've been listening to everything very intently because agents come up today. So I'm going to, when I ask you the question, Leah, about why you want to attend the University of South Dakota, tell me your story, okay? You graduated in 2011. If you got a degree, then mention it. Why you want to, you worked as a XYZ, keep things very brief to the officer, and you want to go to South Dakota because. Try and follow that format when you give me the response, okay? I know this is a bit of a weird way I'm doing the mocks today, but I want to give you a few ideas before you answer the question to me. So tell me, why do you want to study at the University of South Dakota?
I want to study in the University of South Dakota because I want to get some knowledge and skills which will help me to gain a managerial position in my company, family company, whereby I've been working as an environmental officer for the last 10 years, and I need the economic perspective in business administration because I've realized I don't have enough skills to integrate. This course is giving me the enough skills to integrate the economic and social into the environment so that I can be able to bring the sustainability in the company.
Okay. And who's going to be paying for your tuition and living expenses in the United States?
I've secured a loan of $25,200 US, which will be covering my tuition and living expenses. And also my family will be helping.
Okay, and what are you going to, oh, sorry, continue, Leah.
The savings from my company will also be helping me in other areas so that I can focus on my academics.
Okay. And what do you plan to do when you graduate?
After I graduate, because I will have acquired enough skills, I want to come and so that I can take the company to another note whereby we can be able to deal with the company deals with the construction so that we can be able to do renewable energy houses that are using some solar, and also we can utilize sustainability in construction.
So Leah, your questions, you've got the right idea, but your questions are very muddled and not very, you need to really, when the officer asks about why you want to attend South Dakota, talk about the curriculum, talk briefly about you've been working in this field, and then talk about why you want to go to the university. You're not following a pattern in your answers in showing your academic skill, showing your work experience, how it fits into why you want to do this degree, and talking about the curriculum. Again, you've got to know why you want to go there. You talked a lot about what you're going to do when you, in that first answer about your goals, but remember the question is, why do you want to go to the university? In the loan information, you did good, but you could really make that a lot tighter. Well, my family are going to help me. They've got savings of XYZ. You might have savings from working. You can mention that. And also then talk about your MPOWER degree like you did. On the graduate question, Leah, again, it was a little muddled and long. Try and be really targeted in when I return. I plan to maybe return to the company you're working for in those roles. But you do have the makings of good answers. You just need to make them a little bit more concise and where the officer will understand them. I hope that's helped you, Leah, and I do wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
So I think we've made it to the last minute of our live session, everyone. So we're going to close up. One question we received a lot of was, will you send out a recording? Yes, in the next few days, you'll get a recording of this webinar. So you can refer to it as many times as you would, as you'd like. And then our handy dandy assistant Imi is sharing some links in the chat, including a feedback form about this webinar. Empower will also email out a feedback form, and a part of our feedback form is asking what else you want to see. It could be more visa webinars, it could be just mock interviews, whatever it is you'd like to see, it helps us plan ahead. And then last, we are sharing links to where you can join our WhatsApp community, as well as register for more webinars like this one if you're interested. Carolyn, my favorite part is asking you if you sort of had everyone, if you had to give one key takeaway from this session for everyone here today, what would that one takeaway be?
I think today, listening to the questions and listening to, the mock interviews, I I believe that all of you through the whole process are really getting yourselves ready for this. But here's 3 points, Claire, so forgive me. Remember this, keep it easy. Don't go down little rabbit holes. Tell the officer, number one, why it makes academic sense for you to study at this university. Number two, talk about your finances, bring your documents, offer them to the officer. And number three, always remember those questions about, are you going to go home ties? You show them through the whole interview. So, MPOWER are great at giving you the webinar. Please kind of review it and listen to how I gave you all my secrets. I shouldn't have done that, I'm sure, but I gave you my secrets on how you need to put your answers together. Try and work with that. So that was long-winded, Claire. I'm sorry. Took me 2 minutes to answer one question.
No, it's great advice. So everyone, you heard it straight from Carolyn. We'll send, and then you'll hear it again when we send out a recording. I want to remind everyone that you can work more closely with Udeti if you'd like. Work with Caroline or someone similar. So let me write this. Want to receive more coaching from Udeti? Use code MPOWER to receive 20% off their services. I'm going to post that right now. Oh, that went to just me. Let me post it again for all of you. That's fun. So this way, you can take a quick screenshot of the links we just shared so you can hopefully refer to them later. Everyone, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. We hope this helped. Of course, Carolyn, thank you so much for the wealth of information as always. And in the meantime, guys, stay empowered. We'll see you soon.
Good luck, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.